Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Hater Nation! Good evening and welcome to Chaos Theory Live! A lot of you might be wondering, what on earth is Chaos Theory Live? Well, you're looking at me and my special guest, all the way from Del Rio, Texas, right next to the river, the 10-foot tall Texas Terror, Jean-Claude Fontenot, Kid Shoryuken!
Hello, greetings and salutations, 8-Bit Podcast listeners. I'm very happy to be joining you today.
You guys have no idea what you're in store for. This is a throwback from way back. A 8-Bitter from way back when. He was with us during the Silent Rob era, which, as I've come to know, is quite important to some folks and not so much to others. But good evening and welcome to Chaos Theory Live. Now, if you're wondering what we're going to talk about here on Chaos Theory Live, we're actually here to plug Pissing in the Live Stream number 5, coming up on Sunday, October 26th, this year. Fancy this year. We'll be having it at 3 p.m. Pacific Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, and that's 11 p.m. Greenwich Meridian Time. For those of you folks that have to go to bed early, we got you covered, so we'll be there at 11 p.m. for those folks in the UK, Ireland, so on and so forth. So, without getting too far along, Kid Shoryuken, now, you and I were talking just before the program began about you wanted to do a little bit of a plug for yourself here. Now, you were part of an animated serial of some kind here, is that what I understand?
That's correct. Not a plug for me necessarily, but a plug for a friend of mine. Goes by the name Mr. Dude 206 here on YouTube. Annually, he does a little Halloween cartoon that he likes to have all of his friends partake in. So this year, I've lended my voice to said cartoon. I play the villain, kind of. And in that cartoon, you'll be able to hear myself, as well as him, Michael B. the Game Genie, and Weekend Game Guy 1. And I think it's going to be pretty cool. The guy makes some fun little cartoons, and it was a lot of fun recording the voiceover for it, and I think it's going to be pretty awesome, so people should definitely go check that out. It'll be up in time for Halloween.
Fantastic. You know, and I've kind of phased out there, I'm sorry. Is it a Halloween-themed sort of thing you were saying?
It is. There's a horror theme to it. There's a theme running throughout the
Don't give it away if you don't have to, if you don't want to.
No. No spoilers. You can actually go back and watch the cartoon from last year, and I think even the year before that, there's a running theme of a cursed video game. Last year, I believe it killed OK Chief 420, and this year it's going to do a number on me. So should be pretty cool.
So last year, the slaughter of OK Chief 420, a good idea to some, not so much to others. And this year, the more or less the destruction of Kid Shoryuken?
It very well may be.
It very well could be. Well, I'm sad Vincent Price wasn't here to foreshadow your demise for you. But, yes, and for those who don't know, we are filming during October of 2014, so I got my Misfit shirt on. Just in case you guys were wondering, we are celebrating the month here. Anyway, yeah, really, we're just here to plug and tell you and make sure it's crammed into your brain to be with us on Sunday, October 26th for Pissing in the Live Stream 5. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be the 5th Pissing in the Live Stream, which means that, you know, if you're still paying attention after 4 of them, then 5 is just as good, if not better. You know, because just like the Police Academy movies, they got better and better and better. You know it's true. So, anyway, Kid, what's going on in the world of games what's annoying? It seems to be that's what happens here. People come to the 8-Bit Podcast and they say, you know what's fucking annoying? This, and I hate it. Talk about that.
You know, it's really, really hard for me to comment on what's annoying these days. You're aware I'm living very much the hermit's lifestyle right now. Mm-hmm. I've basically shunned myself away from society in an effort to just kind of exist in this little world I have going for me, so I don't lose my fucking mind out here in the middle of the desert. So what annoys me right now? Scorpions.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's
very annoying. Scorpions and coyotes.
Scorpions now they're annoying in that they're a direct threat to you.
Yeah, well, yeah, they can sting me. There's a kind of like a weird. There's like a thing in my kitchen on the floor, on the tile, where it's oddly shaped, almost scorpion-like. And I'm afraid one night I'm going to walk into my kitchen and just think that I'm stepping on my shitty tile that has all these like gross imperfections, and I'm going to step on an actual scorpion. I'm going to get stung. It's going to be a very bad day for me. Not referring to the German scorpions, mind you. They don't annoy me.
Well, yeah, but they're also little and oddly shaped, so, there's a tie-in there. We got that going for us. All right, well, I guess your idea of annoying and my idea of annoying are different sorts of annoying. I was mostly referring to what's really annoying in the gaming media, and there's people who want us to talk about this Gamergate thing, even though I said no! And they said yes! And I said no! And they said yes! And so we're not going to tell you anything just yet. You'll have to tune in on Sunday, October 26th at 3 p.m. Pacific Time, 6 p.m. Eastern, and 11 p.m. Greenwich Meridian Time. You have to check in. You have to tune in, and you'll have to see what we have to say about that because it's still brewing. It takes time. We're not one for knee-jerk reactions, despite what some people might say.
No, and I can't wait to talk at length about people I don't give a shit about. It's going to be awesome.
I know, and even more so is talking at length about people that don't care about the people that don't care about other people and so forth. and like that.
It's going to be the most apathetic pissing in the live stream ever.
It just might be. And that's why you have to be there, Sunday, October 26th. Don't miss it. You know what? I think we're going to have a little chat here. We got some folks down leaving some fantastic questions in the comment section. We should interface with those people, don't you think, Kid Shoryuken?
Oh, I absolutely agree.
Okay, now first one right here in front of me is Lady Nikki, and Lady Nikki says, anyone saw the Super Smash Brothers for Wii U video? I am halfway through it, and we had to start the program. I forgot all about that. So, looks pretty neat, but I'll have more to say about it later on after I see the whole damn thing. So,
I like this comment here. This fellow, Merit 2014 says Gamergate, spelled G-A-Y-M-E-R.
I'm pretty sure someone already owns that gamer thing.
It's some Oscar Wilde-like wordplay right there.
Yeah, no kidding. That's fantastic. That's like Mark Twain. I stumbled across a YouTube. I hate to do this, but I'm going to. I stumbled across a YouTuber named The Gay Gamer, and I sat there for a second, and I said, okay, not only is that not creative, that's just the most blatant thing you could possibly. Like, why would you say that? Why would you let that be your entire that? Why would you let that be like the license plate on your car? The first thing people see in order to judge you, and the Gay Gamer is like, yeah, I like Castlevania and taking it in the butt.
This game sucks.
I just think that's terrible. And watch, I'm gonna get hate mail from the people that like the Gay Gamer. And once again, I'm not opposed to the Gay Gamer. It's just, dude, you have a really shitty practice of naming your YouTube channel.
I'm gonna go check out this Gay Gamer as soon as we're done.
Everyone go check out the Gay Gamer and tell him, hey, love your stuff, and you got a really sucky name. wait, I made a pun. I didn't mean to make a pun. But
you missed. I don't know. You missed my pun. You were talking about Castlevania, and I said it sucks.
Oh well. Okay, fair enough. On the average, if you really think about it, yes, it does.
Pretty good. I need you to be on for those things. I need that gratification when I jump on those things.
Well, most people do. Let me see here. I'm trying to go through the questions, and I understand there's a little bit of a punctuation issue going on in the comment section, so everyone, I'm terribly sorry if you're having a hard time, but we're going to get to everybody as best we can. Let me see here. Did you see anything in there cool, Uke? Because it's moving a little bit fast for me, so I can never tell where I'm supposed to be. This seems to happen every single time we do this.
Someone named AL Justice 90 something or other. He simply put "Happy Console Gamer?" ?
Is he calling you the happy console gamer? Because at which point I'd be a little offended. He might be saying you look old.
He could be. I've been putting on a lot of weight recently, and so I think I'm a bit bigger than Johnny Millennium. I got a few pounds on him, you know.
All right, well,
But
see,
Johnny,
you know, I
he's like
swear
40.
I could sell tickets to that. You know, Kid Shoryuken versus the happy console gamer.
Yeah.
Inside the 15-foot high steel cage.
He doesn't want any of these fucking pythons. I can guarantee you that.
Oh man, Kid Shoryuken strutting his stuff.
That's right.
Lucky Fox asked for thoughts on Alien Isolation. Did that game come out already?
Yeah, people are. I've heard good things. I haven't played it yet myself,
Really?
though.
Because
I've heard good things, though.
you've heard good things. See, that's surprising to me because I've heard nothing about it, and all I've heard is how everyone thought Destiny was meh.
You gotta be a little more social then, because you know we got
Well,
some
that's
friends
what I'm
there.
wondering. Is like, I guess all the annoying people just gravitate around me, and I can't hear all the other annoying people talking about games that are actually halfway decent. That's a nice change of pace. But now you wonder, you know, now the scores are getting better, you wonder.
Yeah. I do know. I haven't watched it, but if anyone is inclined to, I did see that Angry Joe put up an Alien Isolation review.
Oh, wow,
Um,
good for fucking him and his leather jacket.
Well, you know, if people are inclined to watch him, I mean,
If you're so inclined, we know that certain people around here are not, but you know what are you gonna do?
if you are so inclined, yeah.
Sigma Sean wants to know if I've heard this Mute City Smash remix yet. I have not. I have not. So when I hear that, I imagine I'll be very, you know, I'll be very excited. I imagine that's the word I could think of.
Someone here asks if anyone's played The Evil Within. Have you played that one?
Which one is that? There were so many games that had such nondescript names over the last year or two. Which one was that?
You might remember the trailer. The trailer was the one where it's like we got these random people off the street to sit down and play our really scary video game, and then it's like just reaction shots of people playing it, and they're jumping and freaking out and everything. And recently, actually, Bill has been putting up a Let's Play series on his.
Oh no, I haven't seen those. I didn't know anything about it.
So Alpha Omega Sin is actually right now posting a playthrough of The Evil Within, and it looks pretty cool.
Well. Bravo.
Yeah.
I just, that just really seemed to come at a time when, I don't know, that's just one of those games that I've just heard so much about, and I'm just not interested in it.
What about Hatred? Because this.
Now, what about Hatred? I saw something about Hatred, and I looked at it and I'm like, well, it looks like a game where you kill things. I didn't really investigate it any further than that.
Yeah, honestly, the gameplay, I mean, it didn't look like anything that special. People are just, I think, up in arms over the motivation of the main character because he's just a hateful person that wants to kill everyone. And I guess you just run around blowing innocent people away and you just try to kill as many people as you can before you die, I'm assuming. Which that's the premise to a lot of video games.
That's a premise to at least like a third of the games that I own. Have you ever played a bullet hell shooter? Those all might have been fathers of families.
But I think it's less the content of the game and more like the motivation of the character and the perceived innocence of the people you're killing. That's making people a little, and obviously this company it seems like it's getting people talking about it, this kind of shock value kind of thing. It's not terribly interesting to me. It's like the video game version of Miley Cyrus or something. Like,
I really appreciate that there are closed-minded fucks that will forever leave the wound torn open, the tradition of parents and special interest groups protesting video games, which has been going on since I was a kid. I appreciate those people keeping that tradition alive. I really do. But what motivation does it matter? I guess when you talk about perceived innocence, I don't find any human ever to be innocent. So that's just lost on me.
Well, they're not bad guys, I guess, is the thing that it's not like your
Yeah, but see,
007.
and that's something I've
Yeah,
never understood is, they were opposed to, like, remember when I think Rockstar Games brought out Manhunt some years ago?
yeah, yeah.
And that game is a murky, boring mess. I mean, it's cool for like the first hour, and then after a while, you're creeping up on people and suffocating them with a bag. Which
That
is
is true.
fine because I mean, I got my copy for free, but somebody paid like $50 for that.
Well, what pissed me off was, I mean, the first one was okay enough. I was just mad that we were getting that instead of another Grand Theft Auto game because I was a big Grand Theft Auto fan at the time. But when the second one came out and it ended up receiving an adults only rating, and so it got, they put that shitty weird distortion effect into the game when you're killing people. So you can't even really appreciate the violence in the second one. So I don't understand really what the draw of that game is anymore because it doesn't play particularly well.
Well, I don't
Um,
really so much mean the draw, but I remember that there was a lot of when I was a much younger man. That game came out, and a lot of people were very upset, and we should not have this game. And came out in the PlayStation 2 and the GameCube and possibly the Xbox, and people were very much opposed to this game. And then I thought, how many games? I mean, it's I guess that's not okay, but you look at all the games before that. I mean, killing is killing. I don't see how it really matters. Because, shooting down planes, that's genocide if you really think about it over your entire video gaming career. How many digital souls have you claimed, Kid Shoryuken?
quite a lot. One thing
You
that
were
really
probably doing it right before we came on. You were disposing of digital souls over here and over there, weren't you?
I was killing little
Pig.
penguins. In fact, it's pretty
And
disgusting.
penguins are cute, so you're a genocide guy. You're a genocidal maniac and a fuck. What would Morgan Freeman think if he knew you were killing penguins?
If Guar has anything to say about it, we're gonna kill all the penguins before they get us.
Well,
Um,
we're killing all the penguins just by doing our everyday thing.
yeah, fuck penguins anyway. What do they do? But right around the same time, in the general time frame that Manhunt 2 came out, that was also when the Punisher game came out. That was on the Xbox and PS2, and I thought that game was actually more violent than Manhunt 2 was, and nobody really gave a shit for whatever reason. It wasn't published by Rockstar. Maybe that's why. It wasn't from such a big name developer. But I thought it was just as violent as anything Rockstar was putting out, but nobody seemed to give a shit,
Mm-hmm.
And you could kill people with power tools in that game, which was a lot of fun.
That's always power tools makes everything better.
Power tools, bear traps mounted on the wall that you can shove people's
Eddie
face
Van Halen and Paul Gilbert taught us that they make guitar better somehow too.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, of course, when people give you guitars for free, I imagine power tools make everything better.
Well, what's his face from Anvil? He can play his guitar with a vibrator, so.
I imagine a lot of people can. It just depends on your definition of play. Well, I guess that's pretty heavily play.
That's playing in a number of different ways.
So, what are people talking about? Oh, I know everyone's talking about the Breaking Bad figures being sold in Toys R Us stores. I don't see the problem. They're toys. Why aren't they sold in Toys R Us?
Yeah, because I think Breaking Bad, like, you would think that would be sold in a more like a multimedia
I don't know a lot about
store.
the series. I know it's stars the father from Malcolm in the Middle, and he has something to do with methamphetamines.
Yeah, I admittedly never watched the show myself, but I know it has a great deal to do with like meth and crime and adult themes.
I saw an episode at my mother's house once, and then I saw a part of it somewhere else. And when I tell people that, and then they find out that I was not completely entranced and sucked into the series and had to see every fucking minute of it, no, it didn't do that for me. And they find that surprising. It's like, yeah, and I didn't like fucking Zombieland either, so.
I'm waiting for the day that my mother-in-law starts emailing me excerpts from scripts of Breaking Bad for help with
Translation?
Yeah, because my future mother-in-law.
What an interesting life you must lead.
It's fun when you get emailed excerpts from scripts to episodes of Sons of Anarchy, and just like half of it is highlighted and read, because there's a lot of slang in that show. For people, well, nobody would know this, but my future mother-in-law is Japanese, and she currently translates television series and movies into Japanese for Hulu. And when she comes across a lot of slang she doesn't understand, she turns that over to me.
What does she do when there's British slang?
That I can't help her with. She's tried. She's tried. It was an Irish movie actually. She was translating, and she was asking me what a whole bunch of stupid Irish gibberish meant. And
it's easy for me. If I have that problem, I just dial up Larry Bundy's. Larry Bundy, what does this mean? And he says, "Oh, I'll tell you, it means this," and then there he is. And then it's like, just in time for the ad break questionarium. He's right on time, Larry.
Yeah. I like your Larry impression.
Oh, did you like that? Did you?
I did. I liked it a lot.
I try.
Showing off your range.
Yeah, I know, right? I can do that, and I can do yell chaos.
Hey, quick question though. Do you know what the fuck wingy gaming is?
This might be something we could ask one of the British folks, but I think he means whingy, and I think that has to do with there's a British expression of being a whinging pom, which essentially means being a British pain in the ass.
Uh-huh.
So I would imagine that he's referring to a sect of gamers that are a bunch of whinging poms, and so when you say gamers that are a big pain in the ass, that describes a lot of them, at least on the internet.
It's a big presence.
Once again, there's this idea that the internet symbolizes all of those who partake in video games, when in fact it's a faction about this big. If everyone on the internet who runs their fucking mouth about one thing or another, if that's the only people who are paying for video games would be that similar to that of a first world nation's economy. It wouldn't be the gangbusters that it once was. And now it's more sad than anything else, but
someone has suggested that we talk about Ebola. That could be fun.
I saw you talked about Ebola, and folks, if you're gonna catch Ebola, cover your mouth when you cough.
Yeah, actually, I have a friend.
Cough in the arm, not in the hand.
I have a friend here now. He's from Cameroon, and
from Cameroon.
And he catches a lot of hell about Ebola. It's
Why?
Because he's African. The fear is that.
Well, what are people still mad at Africans about AIDS too?
I'm willing to bet somebody is. Yeah.
Or did that come from South America?
That was from monkey sex.
Where did Chernobyl come from?
Where are there lots of monkeys with AIDS? Because we gotta. I'm looking in their direction. I think they.
Okay, so whoever had the monkeys with the AIDS, that is the country we should be upset with.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, but yeah, Africa. That's a shame. That's very similar to certain people I know. I'm not going to name names. They know who they are. Whose family was discriminated against after September 11th because they appeared to be of a Middle Eastern persuasion. And I thought that was unfortunate. That made me feel sad as an American. It's like I understand racism, but don't if you're gonna have racism, make sure it's like deep-seated shit. Like you genuinely hate this person because of something your grandmama said back in 1977. Don't hate somebody because somebody did something like yesterday.
Don't be a bandwagon racist.
Yeah, don't be a band. If you're gonna be a racist, be a real hardcore fucking racist. You mean what you say what you mean. You're right. You fill out a newsletter every month. Those kind of people. I don't care for the people that just get in on racism because it's a cool thing to do.
Some sincerity in your racism.
Because hatred could be used to do so many wonderful things on this planet, and you're wasting it on that. Shame on you.
For shame.
For shame. And as far as Alien Isolation, I have not played Alien Isolation, if I didn't say that already.
Are you going to get Bayonetta 2?
Absolutely. I played the demo, actually. Played the demo about a week or so ago, and it was a great demo. It was absolutely fantastic. It's, in my mind, everything that a demo should be. It was not too long. You know, you didn't. It gave you a real quick piece. You know, something you could really explain. A piece of a boss fight. It's insane, and it is an absolute feast for the eyes. And is it sexist? Probably. Who gives a shit?
Ooh, that's so weird that this person just now mentioned this, because I was just watching. I actually just watched this the other day. He says, "Has anyone seen a Tiger Mask versus Kid Dynamite match?" Yes, I have.
I have.
They were brilliant. They were brilliant.
Well, those matches will really show you why what happened to Kid Dynamite happened to Kid Dynamite.
True, but awesome. I really enjoyed it.
Absolutely. I mean, and you know, there's some they take some pretty harsh bumps in some of those matches. Kid Dynamite used to always take the stiff ass bumps in the corner, and that's why he's in a fucking wheelchair.
This is true, but he's not dead though.
No, he's not dead. Well, yeah, neither is Jason Becker. And how often do people talk about Jason Becker, the influential guitar player?
Well, Davey Boy's dead.
Well, Davey Boy's dead. People talk about Davey more because his kids running around looking a lot like him.
Yeah.
Except for, you know, tall.
But yeah, Dynamite outlived Davey Boy. I saw up here someone asked if we've played any good RPGs lately. Have you played any good RPGs lately?
I started an RPG last month, and then I had to switch over and start playing. I set aside some Halloween games for myself, and I regret this because I've spent so much time playing them that I forgot to film them, and so I didn't really get to show it off. It kind of stinks, you know.
It's the chink in your armor.
It did, yeah. I was having so much fun playing games, I forgot to talk about games, you know. And so, but yeah, I shifted over to that. But I started a game on the Nintendo DS called the Magical Star Sign. And that is the cutest goddamn game I've ever seen. It gave me a toothache. And you know, before I got too far, like, you know what, I'm gonna put this away because I got other things to get to. So that's the last one I really started, and I haven't, you know, I'll get back to it, you know, after the month is over.
Very good.
Yourself?
I actually have been playing a rather good RPG recently. This one here, in fact, Namco Cross Capcom.
I know. I've been hearing all about it.
I'm really enjoying it. I'm probably 20 hours or so in. Really fun, simple game, kind of like a blend of action and strategy RPGs, and really enjoying it. Huge roster of characters from both companies, and really weird pairings, because a lot of your units are pairings of characters. So you'll get like King from Tekken is paired with Felicia from the Darkstalkers series, which I understand because they're both cat-like, but outside of that, I don't really understand what they have in common that would warrant them being paired. But they make a wonderful team together. She runs up and claws the shit out of you, and then you can have him jump in and hit your enemy with a nice power bomb, and just keep power bombing them, and it's really cool. But yeah, I'm really digging Namco Cross Capcom right now, which was there's actually more of those. There's, what do they call, Project Cross Zone and Cross Edge. There's a bunch of these cross games.
Oh, sure.
But that one's a lot of fun.
There should be more games, especially fighting games, but more games that feature the power bomb.
Yeah, the power
like watching
bomb.
it in wrestling is really boring now, but seeing it in that oh-so Japanese style,
yes,
it's just like you can see someone's soul being slammed from them.
Oh, that's the best kind.
It's like, you know, you can see like the emanations of steam. That's their soul escaping.
Like just an old school cunty Mike Awesome power bomb.
Now, let me see here. Let me see. I wanted to talk about this really quickly. Nicholas Kennedy, the Ultra Brutal Fatality, I think he's typed this more than once about if I've heard the 2011 re-recording of Eistert's Dante's Inferno. And then he goes on to tell me about how horrible it is and it's the worst thing. Nicholas, you and I need to have a discussion. It's not that bad. It's not good, but it's not that bad. Calm down. It's okay. Settle down.
What are any glaring differences between it and the original?
Well, it's a completely different lineup. The recording is different. The original recording was done in 1995. The reprise done in 2011. So it's, you know, all the modern recording techniques, different vocalists, different band altogether than it was before. And of course, it sounds very different because it's recorded digitally as opposed on analog tape. And
Sure.
you know, it's got a bunch of modern studio zazz on top of it. But you know, I do prefer the original, but it's not that bad. Do I will listen to it every day? No. Will I? No. For money? Probably not.
No, I've
But
always
that's
been a
not the
Storm
point.
Rider. I've always been a Storm Rider man myself.
You like Storm Rider? I always thought John Greeley really sucked.
No, I like Storm Rider. I think it's a great album.
You always sound like someone was stepping on his taint. Fight on! Grab on! Storm Rider! Storm Rider!
But that is a pretty awesome song. Come on, it is. I like the whole album actually, from start to finish. I can listen to it.
Hmm.
I like that one a lot.
Well, that's good. I don't know why. I just for some reason whenever I listen to that record, like Angels Holocaust, yay! And then what you know, I don't know why. I just don't like that guy as a singer.
Mm-hmm. It's
And you got to
good
listen
though.
to it all at once, otherwise it doesn't, you know, like you can't stop halfway through because you're halfway through the story.
Yeah, because I can't think of a time I've ever started listening to that album and then stopped at some point. I always listen to it in a one sitting.
Well, that's good.
It's good for long trips.
Well, that depends on how long of a trip, really.
Hey, what are your thoughts on power metal?
It's has lots of keyboards typically, and it's very, very, very European. American power metal, I've always found, owes far too much to Judas Priest. In fact, a lot of European power metal owes far too much to Judas Priest, like Primal Fear, for instance. What are your thoughts about power metal?
I like power metal, actually. I went through a real power metal phase when I was living in Europe. I started listening to a lot of, especially some of the Finnish bands. Sonata Arctica being a primary example. I like Sonata Arctica, and
I have mixed feelings about that group.
you know, there's so many power metal bands though, and the fucking Spell Blast.
Oh yeah. You know what I find so funny and I've had this discussion, and I've always said that I want to sit down and have a real discussion about this, but all the subgenres that are heavy metal today,
Mm-hmm.
and I've gone on about this in terms of the extreme terms, death metal, black metal, slam, grindcore, crossover, things like that. But I've noticed that there is now two distinct groups, and there might be microcosms, microgroups within the power metal scene, but there's two distinct groups that I've noticed. There's the more recent power metal fans, the last 4 or 5 years from the recent records. Those people like Sonata Arctica, they like Dragon Force, they like Sim Force, they like who else do they like? So some of the bands that seem, I guess, would be like more contemporary power metal, I suppose.
Yeah.
And then there are like the tough power metal guys who still look like spindly little nerdy dudes, but they own a leather jacket and shit, and they're into real fucking power metal, which is like Stradivarius or early Stradivarius. Like, it's like the same bullshit that befell fucking thrash and death metal before it. He was like, I'm not into that faggot shit, man. I'm into the stuff that's about dragons and unicorns and shit, not that fucking faggot video game music.
Okay, I have to say two things. One, I've never heard the two words tough and power metal.
I built that
before.
myself. I'm using descriptive language.
You just did something amazing. You lost me as soon as you said that. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
I'm not kidding around. They have these guys. They're like fucking power metal. They're more like power metal snobs. I guess that's the way I can really describe it. And it's like, it's kind of like, okay, you ever heard guys who talk about guns and this gun's better than that gun? Like, I use a 40 because a 45, fuck that noise, those guys with guns.
Yeah.
And so it sounds tough, right? And then have you ever seen guys who talk about Harley-Davidson motorcycles together?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to sound tough, but they describe it like they're talking about fucking wine. Oh, well, this one has a very nice ride, and it's very smooth, and especially handling on the road. Oh, and I like it, and love the curves and all this bullshit. The same fucking thing comes out of, like, these power metal supposed aficionados. They talk about it like it's fine wine. I'm like, dude, you sound like a faggot. You know, I
I
know that you
agree.
really feel like you're sticking up for your art, and I appreciate what you're doing, but you sound like a snobby faggot, and it's probably going to get you beat up in college.
We have to address something here because this one person has asked 3 times
To talk about
for
baby
us
metal.
to talk about baby metal.
Well, you talk about baby metal, because baby metal, I can handle some cute here and there, but god damn it, I can't look at them for long spans. You talk about baby metal.
You see, I enjoy the band not so much for their music, but for the reaction they elicit from people. I love it when people who are like dedicated to metal religiously see something like this kind of getting over with people and getting really popular. And I like to see their reactions to that because it's always this like very over the top, hate spewing, kind of visceral reaction. And I really like that. Personally, I first heard of them while I was still living in Japan, and I just thought they were cute little kids singing their songs, just a little oddity. Wasn't anything I thought was too threatening. It's just some, little kids, singing and dancing. And then at some point, it got big on YouTube, and people, the hate gates opened up, and I find it funny that grown men, presumably in their 20s, 30s, or even older, are taking so seriously this what is essentially a pop group with some guitars thrown in. They're taking it so seriously. It's just some kids singing some songs and dancing around, and it seems like people who like it are into it, and they're off doing their own thing, and they're having fun. And I just I think I would have reacted the way these people are reacting when I was like 15, and I was very very dedicated to my metal bands. But as a grown man, I don't understand that behavior. I don't understand. Uh, yeah, that kind of reaction coming from grown men in response to what is essentially a group of kids singing.
Well, don't be a snob now, because you and I are both grown men that collect pieces of plastic that have game programs on them.
Oh, okay, that's true, but I mean they're inanimate objects. I mean, big deal. You can criticize an inanimate object, and it's a thing. Who gives a shit? But if you're like a 30-something-year-old man and you're gonna be like, you see some, these kids are singing and dancing, and if it wasn't for that word metal being in the name of the band, like nobody would give a shit. But because you're kind of like treading on their sacred word, I
Well,
guess.
that's the interesting thing is territorialism in linguistics. Like, you don't own words, motherfucker.
Yeah, very much so. And actually, my girlfriend sent me the Baby Metal debut album as a birthday gift. So
Oh, well, that was very nice of her. She sent you some Pocky, didn't she?
she sent me a whole lot of everything: Pocky, chips, cup ramen, anything I could have wanted. Lots of curry too. She sent me
What really separates the cup ramen in Japan, in Nippon, versus the United States?
just ingredients and the size. The bowls are typically really big, and there's the typically it's just richer. Like they won't come with just like a powder. A lot of them will come with like a thick sauce. So it's just like a thicker soup, I guess. And there's
Oh.
typically just more ingredients, more cabbage. There's some actual meat thrown in, things like that.
You lie.
I'm not lying at all.
Well, that's all. Also, that is the country that gives us whale bacon. So,
Yeah,
so
God bless them.
God bless them. It could be, because that's interesting to me. So, and based on what I know about survival rate and so forth in Japan, it goes to show that you must be actually eating real food when you have ramen, whereas Americans get to have chemicals that vaguely resemble food.
This is true. But actually, what is one brand sold in the States called Maruchan is actually a popular brand in Japan as well. So,
Well, yeah, exactly. Which surprises me. So the stuff they sell to Americans, So it turns out Nintendo's not the only people fucking over North America.
Oh,
That's a point to ponder. Let's think about that for a little while. Talk amongst yourselves. But
uh,
interesting.
somebody wants us to comment on the death of Odorous Urungus, aka Dave Brocky.
Well, Dave Brucky passed away some time ago, and rest in peace. Um,
Had
there
an
seems to
amazing
be.
funeral.
That's what I understand. He got to have himself a Viking funeral, and I wish I were there to find out whether or not that was in the will.
It had to have been.
You would think so, right?
I think that a guy that walks around, performs with a monster cock, literally. I believe that he wanted that to happen. Really, I do.
Yeah, and now that's interesting is will they bring back Odorous Urungus? Because
No, no, they're
no, you don't think so?
no, because they've already got. Well, what's his? I forget his real name. He's been portraying Beefcake for a number of years. He's
There's
now
been a few of them,
switched.
though.
He's switched to a new character, and he's been doing a lot of the vocals. And they've also included now a female vocalist named Volvatron, who is pretty damn awesome. And
And is different from Slimenstra Hyman, right?
yeah,
Okay.
she's not just like a dancer,
Well, no,
from what I'm.
no. Slimenstra sang.
Oh, okay. She sang
She sang on
in piece.
Sexecutioner.
Yeah, but for the most part, she was there to like just dance with fire and fight
Yeah, I'm
with the
sure that bitch is old
monsters
by
and
now.
things like that. I have to imagine so. But Volvatron's pretty cool. She shoots blood out of her tits.
I saw that, and she looks substantially younger than
Yeah.
a lot of the dudes that are in that band. Because it is, for those of you who don't know, Dave Brocky had a plan for Gwar to be the band that would go on for 100 years.
I'm
And
hoping
if I'm not doing anything when I'm 40, I'm going to go join Gwar.
well, I mean, if they continue to go on the way they've been doing for the past decades, where if someone leaves the band, no big deal, just a new character is introduced. It's that easy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but she seems cool. Probably a chick that grew up loving Guar, and then saw an opportunity and she took it.
Yeah, she got a great job, and she's making money, and her mom said, honey, what do you do? She says, I shoot blood from my breast,
Shoot
Mom.
blood out
Wait,
of
where
her
are you
nipples.
going?
She's she's singing for Guar and getting paid, and she's shooting blood out of her nipples.
There you go. That's a great thing, I mean, how
She's
many people in their life? Well, I'm sure a lot of people by now could say they played in Guar.
yeah, but she's living the dream, man.
That's like people who've played in Monstrosity. It's about
Big big kudos to whoever's being Volvatron right now.
absolutely, and I really do hope that Guar is alive and well, a virile touring act when I die. I really, certainly hope so.
Someone hey, oh cool, let's talk about ISIS. I like that was correct me if I'm wrong, but that was Catwoman's cat.
I beg your pardon?
Catwoman had a cat named Isis.
Oh,
I think that's what they're referencing here.
oh, or
Like the goddess, the Egyptian goddess Isis.
oh, well, I thought you were talking about that stoner band with the beards.
Oh, they're cool too.
Yeah, I bet you they're glad they broke up now. Because otherwise they were going to get like a missile through the front door and shit. Yeah, we found the operatives. They're in Lafayette, Louisiana. Let's go.
Someone asks about let's see. Did you read the Metal Injection article saying that the problem heavy metal is metalheads saying faggot, and how the subculture unreadable, the most inclusive thing in the world?
And I didn't read an article. I try my hardest not to give any attention to Metal Injection. Metal Injection has really become the Kotaku of heavy metal news.
Because
About as reliable as WWF Magazine.
yeah, you're really not too concerned, obviously, with the usage of the word faggot, though.
Me? No, not in the slightest.
Yeah. Which I like. I think it's a good word. It's a strong.
No, it's regardless of how you feel about it, I will not be fenced in by your preconceived conceptions.
Well, I like.
Sorry. Wait. That was redundant.
It was. But I like the word.
Notions. There we are.
Yeah. But honestly, I can't think of a time ever that I've used the word faggot to reference a gay man. It's just a fun word.
No, I don't think that I ever have. Especially, see, it has to do also, I guess, with upbringing too, because there were gay people in my family when I was a little boy, and so it wasn't an odd thing to me. That's my thinking, at least.
Yeah. It's just a fun word. It has some like it's fun to say. It rolls right off.
Well, it's as some of our British viewers would say, it's a way to take the piss out of somebody.
Oddly enough, it's not a word that rolls off the tongue. It comes out of the back of your throat. The word faggot. It's fun.
You've wanted to tell me that for quite some time, haven't you?
Yes.
You got it all planned. There's a diagram. It's like, okay, that's a post-uvular fricative. Okay, so it comes out of the back of the throat.
Oh.
Thank you for being so thorough. I appreciate that.
No problem, because there was a recent episode of the South Park. No, yes, it was the Blockbuster episode, I think. And this guy keeps driving past the Blockbuster because Randy now owns a Blockbuster. Uh-huh. And he yells out of his car, he says, "Go back to the 90s, faggot!"
Oh, I did see that when I was actually over at my mother's house, and my stepdad loves South Park, and that was on. I'm like, all right, you can say faggots on TV now. All right, they must be getting desperate to compete with the internet.
Big old belly laugh out of me. It was so funny. So very, very funny.
Let me see here. Somebody wants us to call in Razorfist for a rant against PCism. Now, are you talking about the PC master race and the snobs that are, contained therein, or do you mean political correctness? Because I'm pretty sure he's done both at least 3 or 4 times. How many times can you guys hear that story? Now, don't get me wrong. I appreciate that all of you have interest in what it is we do here, but you gotta come up with something else. Like Razorfist needs to rant about Wendy's, something like that.
Someone asks if I have any real Japanese metal bands to recommend. I guess
like besides the Sex Machine Guns.
Yeah, or like old shit like Loudness and
or Abigail.
Ezo. Yeah, or X Japan. I like X Japan.
X Japan, well, that depends. They're still doing it though, aren't they?
They are, which is
and
weird.
They're like in their 40s and 50s, aren't they?
Yeah, because it's funny. In I think 2000, they did a show. It was called The Last Live, and that was, I guess, intended to be their last live show. But they're still performing today. So I do like X Japan and 80s Japanese metal acts like Ezo and Loudness and stuff like that. As for modern metal in Japan, I don't know. I do have a friend that plays in a metal band called My First Rifle. If you want to... What's that for? Come on, man. It's not their first language.
Well, I know, but it sounds like kind of like a metalcore band, but not...
Well, yeah, they're a good band, and she also plays in some other bands that aren't metal. But you can check them out.
Yeah, drummers can do that.
Yeah, a lot of these other bands I've seen recently. You and me were watching videos by No God.
Yeah. They're sort of more of a visual ki band as well.
Yeah, but I like them. Upbeat, catchy fucking songs, and some talented musicians in that band. Fucking A. I'm really hard pressed to think of any others. I honestly wasn't listening to much in the way of Japanese metal while I was in Japan. I was still listening to American and European metal while I was there.
Well, yeah, it's not like, you have to, convert. You got to get a converter for your metal. It's like, oh, well, I can't use this metal in Japan. I need to get a Japanese metal converter, and then I can only listen to this. When I'm pretty sure Japanese CD players play American compact discs, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Compact disc, what the hell is that?
They still sling those things around. Like I said,
compact, let's talk about that for a second, actually. I remember some years ago when someone told me that, MP3s or something else was on the rise. Or no. CDs would be toppled by mini CDs.
Okay.
Or the Sony and the Sony mini disc, which was the same overall idea. And that was going to topple, which was confusing to me because that looked like a tape. Like we went from tape to CD back to a tape. And, of course, they tried to shove the mini disc thing down your throat with the PSP for many years. But, and here we are, 20 years later, and CDs are still swinging fairly strong. There's something to be said for that.
That's odd, but yeah, they still get around. I mean, I don't know who's walking around with a CD player on their hip or anything like that.
But people still got CD players in their car, and people go and put some people just like to buy a disc. I know a lot of metalers. They love to buy the disc. They're going to put it on iTunes, so it doesn't fucking matter. But they like, and it's good to have a disc. Like, some people I cannot explain, like they say, why do you collect vinyl? It's like, well, sometimes a vinyl record's really neat. It's just something to, like, I compare it to the Feelies from the early PC games in the 1980s. There's stuff in there, and you get to touch it and look at it, and that's neat.
Yeah, I mean, there's a great deal of music collectors.
Downloading music is not quite the experience that.
Not really.
Now, is it worth all the bullshit going to a record store? No, not really.
No.
But if you don't mind buying it online, which that kind of sucks too, because there was an experience to that, at least when I was a kid, to go and buy music. And mind you, by the time I was coming of age, it was already very corporate, so you got it at Target or whatever. But the point is, you got something physical, and now it's a more of a special experience if you have a record store in your town, if you have a record store in your county, let alone your goddamn state.
Well, some people are just big-time physical media enthusiasts, and they will go out of the way. One person that springs to mind is I watch a channel on YouTube called Thrift Dweller, and one of them, Lester, one collects games, and the other more or less collects music, and he's always getting all these CDs and things from various genres, and he's got like thousands of fucking CDs and that kind of thing. And some people are just, enthusiasts for physical media. They have that nostalgia, that yearning for the old times, so they go out and...
I don't know if it's so much a yearning for the old times. I think it's more of custom tailoring your life around you, experiencing things the way you now have that option. We have never had this before in human history. It used to be when you heard a song on the radio, man, you fucking heard it. Unless you bought the big fucking contraption to play this thing and do all this stuff, and now this stuff is so easy to come by that you can custom tailor your life around you. There are some, and I'll tell you what, there is some fucking old death metal that you listen to it on a tape, a CD cannot recreate that experience. I guess I sound a little bit old, but what I'm saying is we now have the option of so many different kinds of media to custom tailor any experience custom to you. That doesn't mean that it should be, but
I think it is. I think I got rid of my entire CD collection, though. Just moving about, I had to...
Oh, yeah, well, I've got a CD collection downstairs, downstairs in the storage area, and yeah, it must be... I know it's close to 1,000 CDs, and it must be, 600 pounds.
Jeez.
It's ridiculous.
The only CDs I hung on to were my video game soundtracks. Everything else went before I left. Oh, nope. Now I'm in possession of one CD of
See, well, now you just got that one pain in the ass CD hanging around with all your games.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna get excited. Oh, what game is that? Oh, fuck you, music CD, goddamn Shakira or whatever.
I'm gonna just go ahead.
I don't know what you listen to at home. You might, something different could be.
Don't talk shit about Shakira, man.
I'm not saying nothing about Shakira. I'm just saying. All right.
Okay.
God, getting all fucking defensive and shit. It's only Thursday.
Have you played Hyrule Warriors yet?
I have not. Before we go on, speaking of Thursday, I want to remind each and every one of you to come out for Pissing in the Live Stream number 5, Sunday, October 26th, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, and 11 p.m. Greenwich Meridian time. I wanted to state that clearly.
It's the 5th one.
This is the 5th one. I wanted to state that clearly because the people in the Greenwich Meridian time zone always get upset. They say, you're leaving us out. Well, we're not leaving you out. We're thinking of you fine folks, so that way it'll be at 11 p.m. It's the best we could do. I'm sorry. We're all over the world right now, so we got to do what we can to make sure that everyone's covered. So, and you can always watch it in a repeat. You could do that too. I know people get upset, but it doesn't hurt to watch it repeat. It might be better that way. Who knows? Anyway, you were saying about Hyrule Warriors. No, I haven't gotten to Hyrule Warriors yet. I am just, like I said, swamped with games and haven't been able to make any progress in bringing in new stuff.
I haven't been able to play it yet either, unfortunately. It looks pretty cool, though. I would like to give it a try.
What I've heard from a few people is that it's definitely a Dynasty Warriors game, but the Legend of Zelda, I forget how I'm trying to describe this. The Legend of Zelda themes are more than skin deep, but not a whole lot more than skin deep. But I understand it's executed very well, which is good news.
I can live with that. I like Dynasty Warriors style games. I think they're fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm of the mind that you've played one, you probably don't need to get the next one.
There are a lot of games that are just reskin Dynasty Warriors. The most recent Fist of the North Star games are just Dynasty Warriors with those characters, which is cool because it's like my favorite anime ever. So I can, and people's heads explode, and it's fun that way. And
heads exploding are always great.
You instantly make something at least visually more interesting when you include some exploding heads. And what else is there? There's another series that's just like it. It's called Sengoku Basara, which is those keep coming out in Japan. They're published by Capcom. Basically the exact same thing. It's Dynasty Warriors, except it has it's 100% Japanese themes. And still very over the top, though. Very cool and very fun. You got one character in particular, my favorite character in the game, has he fights with 6 katana swords at once. So, that's really cool.
Well, bravo.
That's a series worth getting into because they're on PlayStation 3, so they're region free. So if you were inclined to import something like that, if you really liked the Dynasty Warriors style of games, Sengoku Basara, you could do a lot worse. Oh, and the Gundam Dynasty Warriors games as well. Those are fun.
I was unaware that there were Gundam.
There's like three or four by now. Plenty of them.
Wow, I feel like I'm left out in the cold, and I didn't even know those existed.
They're pretty damn fun. I like them.
Oh, well, that's good. Well, we're getting close to the end of the hour, and we thank you guys for joining us. But somebody wanted us to talk about this, and I hope that you have some insight on this as well. Uke. Sprites and Bytes asked if we could talk about the PS Vita. Now, I don't have a lot of things to say about the PS Vita. I don't dislike it, but he wants us to discuss how it differs in popularity from the East to the West. Is that true? Is the PS Vita was it more popular in Japan the last you remember?
Jeez, that I can't really say. I just automatically assume anything is more popular in Japan. I never could go anywhere without seeing at least a fairly split down the middle on people on the train or what have you, typically on the train, playing their 3DSs or their Vitas. But I do recall seeing quite a lot of Vitas and PSPs and things. I think Sony is more prevalent in Japan than the Nintendo handhelds are these days. Don't quote me on that. I don't know. I just, from what I can recall of seeing people playing on the trains, Sony stuff was typically had the slight edge.
Really?
Yeah. As for why, I don't know because I don't own either system.
Well, that's interesting to me because I see PlayStation Vitas never. And I don't see a lot of people out and about playing games on their phones. Then again, I can't tell. They could be looking at Facebook. I don't know, because there's so many games where you don't do a whole lot, and they charge you, and they call it a game, but it's really just something to keep your eyeballs busy while you wait in line for food, I guess.
If it ain't free, I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't see PS Vita games. The only Sprites and Bytes is the only person I know who is enthusiastic and talks about the PS Vita on a regular basis. And I've seen some of the games, and once again, nothing that I'm sure would be great if someone if someone just gave me a PlayStation Vita for Christmas, and then I get to go from there. I probably would have bought some games for it, but it's just there's not enough to get me there, and I have a feeling that I have a similar feeling to most of the people in the West who are not buying this machine.
It's it's a question definitely better Probably better referenced to some of the YouTubers that are actually still in Japan right now, like X Corn Muffin X and Soft Otaku and guys like that who are there. They have their fingers on the pulse of Japanese society. They would definitely know better than me at this point.
Ah, okay. Well, then we'll have them on the show one of these times because it's an interesting topic. I feel bad for the PlayStation Vita because people feel bad for the Nintendo Wii U. I got one, right over there. But I really feel bad for the PlayStation Vita. And like I said, it's got a really solid lineup. If you don't have another, then again, I've got games on the 3DS that I don't have time to get to. So I don't have time in my life. I'm not the ideal person for this, but I don't have room in my life for another, handheld, especially buying games at that price.
Totally understandable.
Yeah, I feel like I'm the one who's crashing this market. But anyway, what are you going to do? Folks, I want to remind you before we get out of here that you need to be there for 8-Bit Podcast Pissing in the Live Stream number 5. Sunday, this coming Sunday, October 26th, 3 p.m. Pacific Time, 6 p.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Greenwich Meridian Time. Once again, not leaving out anybody from the UK. I want to thank each and every one of you for stopping by. You guys have been great. I want everyone to say goodbye to my good friend Kid Shoryuken.
Sayonara, homeboys and homegirls.
And I am the mighty El Kaos, thanking each and every one of you. You guys have been great, and this has been Chaos Theory Live. We'll see you on Sunday. Bye-bye.